In this video, I'm going to explain how I lost 50 pounds of body fat using metabolic priming, so you can go ahead and copy me. My name's Adam Bundle. I'm an online fat loss professional. I specialize in hormonal priming, body recomposition, and higher level forms of nutrition. I've helped hundreds of men in just the last 6 months alone get to the leanest body fat percentage they've ever been using a predictable approach of metabolic priming, which I've came up with for me and my clients to predictably get to the leanest they've ever been. So metabolic priming is a process of metabolism manipulation, and I have a full breakdown in depth of what metabolic priming is, how you can specifically use it yourself. But the purpose of this video is to explain my exact timeline of going from 220 pounds to 173 and being able to step on stage looking like this, right? So if you guys don't know me by now, go ahead and make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and go through a ton of my client transformations and resources. But in this purpose of this video, I want to break down the limiting beliefs, my calories, and everything in detail on how I made this transformation possible, so you can go out there and you can copy me and make progress on your own fitness journey, right? So it all started back when I started to get into the fitness industry itself. I was extremely overweight, super self-confident about myself, and it wasn't at the point where I was a complete beginner, right? And typically because of that in general, it's like I really only work with guys who have been trying for some time and have like the discipline and the overall, motivation behind wanting to get lean. They just don't have the correct education, right? And even for me, like I had the motivation, the work ethic, the discipline, could follow a plan. I believed in myself, and I was hardworking, but I just didn't have the correct education, which left me on this path of just learning, and just going back and forth between overweight and shredding down using diets like keto, carnivore, and low carb, never actually making a sustainable change. And it took me over 5 years to finally figure out how to do it correctly and how to keep it off for good. So if you guys are wondering like how all the people on social media nowadays are getting lean and staying lean, I'm going to explain to you how it's possible, because really it comes down to that last bit of 20% that actually to do it right and take the time to do it right and receive the correct guidance to get you in a spot where you have your dream body, right? Where, you're not scared to invest in yourself to get the correct education. You have the correct inputs to put yourself in a position of longevity and sustainability. You know how to track macros. You're not scared to ask for help. You follow a proven plan to get to a better position, and a predictable plan like metabolic priming in general that is laid out for you step by step to get you there predictably, right? And, it's led me to over not only having more discipline in general in the other forms of my life, but it's helped me become a better leader, less depression. My health is better longevity-wise. My nutritional knowledge is the best it's ever been. And I've invested thousands and thousands of dollars in my personal education, and I've messed up time and spent years and years and years trying stuff that didn't work and investing in myself and getting the correct education on how to do it correctly. I was able to do it in just, typically like 5 months, right? So the purpose of this video, like I said, I want to break down exactly the self-limiting beliefs that I had to be able to, that was keeping me from getting to this physique right here, and the overall what I did step by step. So one, I want to explain my kind of, overall beliefs that I had at the current time of me thinking that I could do it myself for as long as I had been, and then me getting to actually explaining like the correct process of what carbohydrates, what protein, what fats that I needed to do, and how I set myself up for success to have lifetime sustainability, have a great physique, and, be able to say that, I can now successfully help hundreds of people in the exact same position that I was in and run a very successful company based upon the predictable results that we see within our clients, right? And this is a process I've used with hundreds of guys in the past over and over, getting people to the leanest they've ever been, eating more food, right? Because like I said, metabolic priming is a process of metabolism manipulation, actually utilizing your hormones rather than utilizing some fad diet you saw on the internet that Joe Schmo said it was a great idea to do that's never really been customized for you. I have clients down 100 pounds. I have clients that are getting shredded in 8 weeks, 6 weeks, and they're actually eating more food. Tristan right here is up 1,800 calories in this photo, and a lot of people on the internet think that like my clients aren't doing this, but like I have like the overall case studies to like back and to prove exactly how my clients are doing it, right? So one, the process of me going from being out of shape to having a sustainable physique and having the correct knowledge was me breaking a lot of self-limiting beliefs in myself that is holding me back, right? It's like this. The 2.0 version of yourself is always knocking at the door. And the 2.0 version of yourself takes getting a little bit of uncomfortable and putting yourself in a place that you are a little bit uncomfortable, which, you know, even in the terms of like investing yourself and like putting your back against the wall and, you know, actually getting the correct education you need to put yourself in a space of longevity and consistency rather than trying what may not work over and over and over again. And a lot of people come to me even like, because I was in the position too where it's like I lack, at times I would lack motivation. And a lot of times lacking motivation is just not having the actual correct trust in the plan. And when I correctly got a plan that was trustworthy and I was able to stick to it long term because I was able to see progress week by week by week. And that's the same thing that I do with all my clients. My clients want to see immediate progress, and so I give them immediate progress within the first 6 to 8 weeks to help them with their overall motivation and discipline in the plan that I provide, right? And so a lot of the self-limiting beliefs I had to look at myself in the mirror and say is that, okay, maybe I don't have all the answers. Maybe I don't have the correct information. And I've tried all the diets known to man. I've tried a low carb and would get caught in the skinny fat phase. I would try hours of cardio, which just would degrade a lot of my muscle tissue. And then right after that, I would blow back up, look like a balloon. And, you know, I would just call it, hey, I'm just going to bulk again, right? And that was just my excuse to everybody else because I was so self-conscious about the way people thought about me, is that I would just tell everybody, hey, I'm bulking again. So people didn't think that like, oh, he just rebounded and gained a bunch of water weight, right? And I would do it year after year. And every time I would just get a little bit closer, a little bit closer, a little bit closer. But then I would gain the weight right back. And I ended up investing a crap ton of money into online courses on endocrinology and nutrition to actually get the correct guidance I need to, you know, correctly structure a plan to put myself in a position where, you know, I'm lean year round now. And so a lot of it was just kind of overall self-limiting beliefs, thinking that, you know, maybe I need to necessarily like tell myself, hey, I don't have the correct education. I don't have the correct answers. I need the correct help and I need the correct guidance, right? And a lot of people get stuck with most of their life, unwilling to do the hard things, right? And the hard things aren't necessarily for a lot of guys, you know, doing the cardio or doing a diet. The hard things for a lot of guys I come across is getting the help they need and reaching out for higher level help or investing in a program and putting trust into themselves that they can get it done. A lot of guys that I work with, they came to me with the correct motivation. They were uncomfortable enough in their own skin to do however much cardio it took and starve themselves however much time again and again that it took. And they would people would get down to low amounts of calories and just kind of get stuck, in which, you know, I did the same thing for years and years and years. And so what I came up with a process of metabolic priming to like help these guys understand that it goes a lot deeper than simply just starving yourself and doing a bunch of cardio, right? You have to put into context how the body works and how your overall hormones work when your body is getting to a lower body fat percentage, because getting this lean isn't easy, but what's even harder is trying to get this lean without the correct plan, right? I make it easy for my clients because I say, this is what we focus on. Ignore all the other BS out there, and let's put effort in the right areas, because you could put all the effort in the world in the wrong areas and you could make zero progress, but you could put a minimal effort into the right areas and you can make amazing progress, right? So with that being said, I want to kind of talk about like how I made the transformation possible, and like kind of along the lines of like, one, how to find your macronutrients, how to go through this step by step, and how to really put yourself in a spot where you can stay leaner for longer. And it goes along the lines of like, yes, like using metabolic priming, but I want to kind of explain more in detail for you guys in this video on how to utilize metabolic priming to your advantage and the step-by-step process that you can start to apply within your own lives day, right? So everybody knows about calories, everybody knows about macronutrients, and a lot of the guys that I come across, like I said, they're not beginners, right? I specifically do not work with guys who are unemployed, who don't have discipline and don't have work ethic, because this process isn't easy, but it's a lot easier than going out and trying some fad diet on the internet and putting all the effort in the wrong areas, like I said. And my program in general, it's for guys who are at a high level, right? Guys who are financially stable, because, I've spent thousands of dollars on my education to get the correct information, right? And the thing about progress in general is the speed at which you make progress is the speed at which you solve problems, right? And so if that's maybe investing into a higher level program for nutrition and for accountability and to get the correct inputs. And I'm not here to say that my program is cheap, because it's not, but the key reason why my program's not cheap and it's only for guys who are financially stable is because it's proven to work time and time and time again. I spent thousands and thousands of dollars of my own income on the education needed to get men to a leaner body fat percentage and stay there for longer, right? This is not just some, BS, PDF profile on the internet. We give you exactly what you need in the form of protein, carbs, and fats, exactly what you need to do to work out, and exactly what you need to do day by day, and update it every single week to correctly fluctuate your hormones to get your metabolic rate up and to leave you in a spot where you're actually going to stay leaner for longer. So I'm not here to say that it's cheap, but it works, right? The value well exceeds the price. How would you like to feel if, one, you spent a one-time fee to get to the leanest body fat percentage you've ever been, but actually stay there for longer? What is that worth to you, right? So the reason why my program is the way it is because it's proven to work time and time again, and we have testimonials and we have transformations to prove so, right? So how did I make this transformation possible? One, I utilize correct macronutrients, right? And so when you utilize correct macronutrients, you get the correct macronutrient profile. There's a synergistic effect that happens with your actual your hormones, right? For like protein example, having a higher thermic effect. Fat example, having the correct hormonal fluctuations within fat intake, like T3, T4, metabolism, thyroid, testosterone, digestion, and then carbohydrates, for example, that actually reduce inflammation, reduce adrenal fatigue, and reduce cortisol levels, right? And so with the combination of all these correct macronutrients, we're able to actually correctly fluctuate your hormones to increase your metabolic rate, right? And we slowly start to fluctuate that up. So how do we calculate these, right? So within all my clients' plans, the first thing we do is do a caloric intake maintenance assessment week, right? Which means that we collect data over the course of 3 to 5 days on what you're currently eating macronutrient-wise, right? And so when we correctly get what you're eating calorie-wise, we now know that you're eating, let's say, 2,500 calories a day. So we correctly match the protein, carbs, and fats to exactly what you're eating calorie-wise, which means you're not eating any more calories than you're already eating, but now you have the correct macronutrients inside of those calories, which automatically gives you a correct body recomposition and automatically gives you a good hormonal fluctuation, right? Which gives you that tight, lean, dry look because you're no longer eating more calories than you're actually associated to, but now you're getting correct structure, you're getting correct protein, you're getting correct carbs, you're getting correct fats, right? So how do we do this correctly, right? So with my clients, the first thing is when we do their caloric intake maintenance assessment, one, we take their protein goal, right? Protein's the most important because it has a higher thermic effect, and typically a lot of guys are already under eating on protein. So I typically start my clients anywhere from 1 gram per pound to 1.2 pounds per body weight, depending on how low they've been at their calories, how high they've been at their calories, low being 1, high being 2, right? If we start them at 1, we slowly fluctuate them up to 2 within time, and then we take their fat intake, right? So fat intake is calculated by 0.4 times your body weight, and if you're overweight, it's at 0.3, right? So if somebody's been under eating for a while now, we can't start them off at a 0.4. One, we start them off at 0.3 and slowly fluctuate them up from there. So now that we have the correct fats and we have the correct protein, then we get into carbohydrates, right? So a lot of guys who come to me have been significantly under eating on carbohydrates. And what you don't know about carbohydrates is carbohydrates actually affect a lot of your metabolism, right? And I know people are listening to this right now. It's like, carbohydrates affect your metabolism? What? Yes, they do, right? Because one, when carbohydrates affect your essential body functions, you got to think of them as energy in, right? And so if you think what's my essential body functions, it's breathing, blood flow, sleeping, and organ function. Well, what's 60% of your metabolism? Your basal metabolic rate, which is breathing, blood flow, sleeping, and organ function, right? And so getting the correct macronutrients in the form of carbohydrates, one, you're going to reduce a lot of adrenal fatigue, reduce a lot of inflammation in the gut, and one, lowering the fat intake, which most men typically already overeat on, or one, able to give them a correct body recomposition, trade in some fats for some carbs, and help their body deflate and optimize their digestion, right? So how do we start off with their carbohydrates? Once we get the correct protein intake to start, the correct fat intake to start, we backfill the rest with carbohydrates to meet that certain calorie amount, right? So let's say a client comes in eating 2,500 calories, macronutrients are everywhere, right? We get them a protein goal, you get them a fat goal based upon the calculations that I speculated, and then we backfill the rest with carbohydrates to meet 2,500, right? And then we have a correct starting point. Now, once we have a correct starting point, we slowly each week, as they check in, watch their body weight, watch their body composition, and watch their strength, right? So they check in every single week to make sure that they're not gaining any body fat in the process and to make sure their hormones are fluctuating the correct way, right? So if client checks in next week and he is down 5 pounds, right? Because that happens a ton of the time once you get the correct macronutrients. It happens really quickly. One, we give them a little bit more carbohydrates, right? And then the next week they check in, if their body weight is at or below, we give them a little bit more carbohydrates. Next week, same thing, at or below, a little bit more carbohydrates. And during that time frame, if they're at the lower end of 1 pound per body weight in protein, we actually fluctuate them slowly up to 1.2 pounds per body weight. If their fat intake starting point is at 0.3 because they've been under eating, over time, when they check in, we slowly start to bring that up to 0.4, right? And so we do this every single week. We don't do it at once. Because imagine if what most trainers will do is one, they'll go online and find out what your average caloric intake is, opposed to what the TDEE calculator says online. This is your maintenance calories. The thing you don't know about maintenance calories in general is maintenance calories is not a set number, right? Because as you downregulate your metabolism, your maintenance calorie begins to lower, right? And so there is no maintenance calories that are specific to one person. It all depends on where you're at and what you've been doing and what you've been eating, what you've been training, what you've been doing with your cardio. So what we do is we start you off when you've currently been eating, and then we slowly work you up through that, right? And so with that being said, it's more of a predictable process if we start our calories lower and work them up, rather than saying X-client comes to us eating 2,500 calories, his maintenance calories are 2,800. Imagine what happens if we start him right at 2,800, which is 300 calories more. He'd gain a shit ton of body fat right off the bat because his body's not used to it. So we start you low. We slowly add week by week, monitoring how your body's fluctuating, how your body composition is regulating, and how your strength is progressing as well. Because a lot of people think that, it's all about weight, right? And so for me as a coach, weight is the number 3 tracker of progress on the scale. Actually, number 4. First is how you look. Second is how you feel. And third is how you're progressing strength-wise in the gym. Because if your muscle tissue is going up, your metabolic rate is going up, right? Because muscle tissue is highly metabolic. So, you could be the exact same weight that you start at, but you could have a completely different body composition. Because if you're gaining muscle tissue and you're losing body fat, obviously 1 pound of muscle tissue gained and 1 pound of body fat loss, completely different look, but the exact same weight. So a lot of things we have to do with our clients is to put you in a better position long-term for longevity. We have to break a really big self-limiting belief that it's not all about the weight. It's about how you look. It's about how you feel. It's about how your energy is. It's about how your cognitive ability within your mind and the way your thinking works. And, going it with this route, we never put our clients in a position where we're trying to lose as much weight as possible. Obviously, yes, we congratulate each one of our clients when they do weigh in at a lower weight, because that's fantastic. And we want to do that. We want to lose body fat. But most people don't have a weight loss problem. They have a fat loss problem. People don't care to lose weight. They want to lose body fat. If you're listening to this and I told you, hey, like this, I'm going to change your body composition. You're going to be 6-pack shredded, but your weight's not going to change. Would you care much? Absolutely not. But the thing is, if you are at the same body weight, but you have a lower body fat percentage, you have more muscle tissue just statistically. More muscle tissue allows you to eat more food, and allowing you to eat more food means that you don't have to starve, right? And you're not putting yourself in a position of hypocaloric deficits where you just downregulate a lot of your metabolic presence and you eat any type of food, go out to eat with friends, family, go to Thanksgiving, and you gain a shit ton of weight, right? And so that's the correct information that people on the internet don't know about, is that it's not about getting lower in calories, it's about increasing your muscle tissue, increasing your metabolic rate so you can stay leaner for longer. So as we start to bring these clients up slowly in food, a ton of the times, a lot of them will lose a significant amount of weight because we're hyper-targeting their metabolism, right? I have clients right now that are up thousands of calories and down 20, 30, 40 pounds. And I know a lot of people on the internet think that like I'm saying this and there's just no way. Please go look at all of our transformations, all of our testimonials. Like it's like they are quite literally up thousands of pounds, and there's statistical data to prove it, right? And so go take a look at it. If you don't believe me, go take a look at all the transformations. But as we start to hyper-focus on metabolism, one, we're slowly increasing metabolism, increasing muscle tissue, decreasing body fat. And as we get up in calories, right, now we're building leverage, right? What do I mean by leverage? I mean we're building leverage in the form of more calories consumed and less cardio done, right? So let's take a pause and let's go on the back end of things and say X client comes to us eating 2,500 calories, wanting to lose body fat, and we automatically start them at 2,300 calories and 20 minutes of cardio, right? The next iteration we'd have to do is 25 minutes of cardio and 2,200 calories. Opposed to what I do differently is I slowly hyper-focus on your metabolism, getting you up in calories, making sure we're not doing any cardio. And so as we're hyper-focusing on metabolism, slowly raising your calories, we're building leverage. So what I do differently is imagine X client comes to us eating 2,500 calories, hyper-focus on raising his calories through metabolic priming, keeping the cardio low, maybe doing 10,000 steps just to keep overall digestion and food flowing through your body and just keeping your body warm. And then once we get to 3,000, 3,200, 3,500 calories and you're down 30 pounds, now we start to lower the calories and add a little bit of cardio because the stimulus of cardio is a lot greater when you haven't been doing it, right? And so that's how you build leverage and you build, a system that is highly predictable. So like what it would look for instance, like what it looked like for me on this bodybuilding prep, the one that I won, is that I started right at 2,300 calories and I slowly worked my way all the way up to about 3,800 calories doing no cardio. And right off the bat, I lowered the food about 300 calories, started off like 3,500 calories, and added 25 minutes of cardio 4 times a week, and boom, I lost a shit ton of weight right off the bat, right? And that's what we try to do with same thing we try to do with our clients. So we get them up in food, optimize their metabolism, lower the cardio, and then once we're ready, once their body's kind of tapped out, and we've got their metabolic rate up here, then we can start adding a little bit of cardio, which has a greater stimulus because we haven't been doing it, and we start to lower the food, which has even a bigger stimulus too because now our metabolic rate is higher, right? And that's how we make predictable progress long-term, and that's how you stay lean long-term by utilizing your hormones first and not trying to work against your body. Right? And this is why it's a predictable process. We actually use your hormones to our advantage rather than trying to go against the grain and go against the body's natural hormone production, where like when you go like super low in calories, your ghrelin spikes, your leptin lowers, which ghrelin is your hunger hormone, and leptin is your satiety hormone, which puts you in a position where you're super hungry and you can never get satiated, and that's why you've been spiraling back and forth all these years, losing 20 pounds and gaining it right back. So the process I use, that's exactly what I use with each one of my clients. And the biggest thing, the biggest changing point, and the biggest factor in why this is so predictable is that we check in each week and we correlate your actual progress to what your new macronutrients are, right? As opposed to what a lot of guys will do is they'll lower the calories and they'll stay low in calories for months on end, and over time your body starts to adapt, right? So if you're eating the same amount of calories that you're eating when you started, obviously you're going to plateau. So doing it our way and doing it the way I created with metabolic priming, we're able to productively and predictably see progress each week by correlating your actual progress to what your new macronutrients are going to be that week, right? And then we, like I said, we utilize exactly your hormones to get you in a spot where your metabolic rate's high, and we get you back down, lowering the cardio. So like my client Phil, for example, he's down 90 pounds right now. 90 pounds. And what we did for him, exactly that. We started him at 2,500 calories, no cardio, 10,000 steps. Slowly each week raised him from 2,500 to 3,600 calories, and he lost 40 pounds. There's a testimonial on our page about him. You can go ahead and check it out. And then once he got to 3,600 calories, then we started to add cardio and lower the food, and he lost another 40. And those are the second testimonials on our page too, the 90-pound transformation from Phil. And the thing is, he got to like 2,500 calories. So he lost 90 pounds eating the same amount of food. And that's how you see predictable progress, because you put your body in a spot where, one, you're not under eating on calories, your hormones aren't like through the roof, and your hunger isn't like skyrocketed, but now you're down a shit ton of weight, and it's sustainable because all you have to do is stay within 2,500 calories. Imagine what your life would be like if you could eat a certain amount of calories per day and stay lean long term. That's why my program is what it is, and that's why we've successfully helped hundreds of people in just the last 6 months alone get to the leanest body fat percentage they've ever been, predictably using a form of actual hormonal priming, right? So if you guys need help with this, there's going to be a link down below for you to sign up for a time for us, right? Like I said, what we do is predictable, right? You can go through all the testimonials, all the transformations. If you need some help, right? Because the videos that I do for you guys on this channel is to give you guys as much value as humanly possible and to actually help you with exactly what you need to do to break your fat loss plateau, stop using fad diets on the internet that kind of keep you yo-yoing. But like for the guys that want the extra guidance and want their hand held and want to skip a lot of the learning curve, figuring out how to do it your own, go ahead and sign up for time down below, and me and my team will jump on a call with you. We'll build you out a plan. And if it's a great fit for us for you to be in the program with the hundreds of guys that we currently work with, we'll get you on, we'll get you going, and we'd love to have you and love to help you. But for the guys who just are here to kind of get some more information, go ahead and like, comment, subscribe. I'll continue to pump out useful information for you guys on your guys' own fitness journey, and do whatever I can to help you guys in the time being. So have a great day. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.